I think we are actually only focusing on post-independent India and architecture of that period in this session. I think we should focus ourselves on that and try to only talk about that and try to do what we can. Okay, but I must tell you that I have been struggling for the last 40 years and it has been very difficult because it's not about you and what you think. You can actually figure out the whole thing, how to do it. We can talk about it in a forum like this. But when you want to make that happen, those other people have to agree with you. That is not what you can do. You are too small to do that. Okay? So again, even for modern architecture, I think it was really a shame that Hall of Nations got, was demolished, because that was part of the building and the whole area. That was part of our life when we were students. It was very close to us when we were students, and we really felt so proud of our country and what it was doing. And this is the way we are now treating, So certainly it needs to be protected, but has a block. And that is the first thing, commitment we have to get, that we are going to protect. And of course, in Delhi and India, most buildings are not protected. So if you say that you know about so many monuments and these monuments, it doesn't mean anything, because understanding heritage includes cities, it includes regions, it includes villages, it includes small buildings, opens everything. So that needs it's very complex. And they all come within governance also. So just protection is the most important thing. And maybe as a school, alumni, we can all concentrate on that. And a considerable part of it can work on modern architecture, post-independence. Now when you define what is modern architecture for this country, it's not just these buildings. There's more to that. There's much more. So we have not thought about it. It's not important because, one person thinks about it. It has to be a larger. But everyone is only interested in their own benefits and their own returns. That's what is happening. Schools should be thinking more about it. But I have not seen anything like that being taught here. I have given up after 40 years. One doesn't expect, but I think as a larger group outside any institution, as professionals, I think we should see how we can, but we have to organize this whole campaign. It's actually educational. Okay, it's not enough to say, you have to, what is that called? What is that called? You have to talk to people and then show them some slides. They're all packaged stuff. But you need more things you have to tell yourself. It is every teacher in the school has to be so interesting to their students that when they are inspired by architecture, and that all means a lot of commitment and work. Okay, and yes, law is required. I have been telling Professor H.K. Menon that there is very inadequate law for heritage in this country. You have to improve it. You have to, improve this. You have to add. Modern architecture also has to be included. I'm not going to say how and anything more about it, but one has to figure this out. And I always am told by all these people who are well known that there is enough law. There is enough law in this country. I know you can't do anything. And I think it's about time we can do things properly, so that a new set of people will get into this. And they're all professionals. And today I know that professionals in conservation, they don't have a good deal at all going. Because it's all crowded. That space is crowded by file pushers, politicians, all kinds of other people, including NGOs. So, we have to set the system right. That's all. And if we do that, and then also work for, special groups to achieve for modern architecture, so that this doesn't happen again. It cannot happen again. And for that we have to think about it, and it cannot be just discussed at a forum like this. It's not good, because it all gets fragmented and all kinds of things go out, and all kinds of things are picked up. It's not like that. It has to be consistent, and we have to be very clear that we want to protect our modern architecture, because it is part of our contemporary whatever architecture, because it's part of our lives. I think that's what we can do. And we have to work out the nuts and bolts of that, so that this doesn't repeat. And I'm sure we also follow the case, there was so much of animosity from the government. It was not a natural, there was an animosity. And there was, and they were all sticking together. And they had no intention of actually listening to anybody. That was the mood of this. Wasn't it so? Yes, we could feel it. And it was so confusing to actually know, who was in the committee, because at one point no one agreed to say they were on the committee. That was the way we were getting information. So I think we should really put our best and get some things done. And I am willing to work for that, as I have a lot of time now. Okay?
Friends, we are shocked, we know. And we are always thinking what we should do, what is the way forward. My only one thing, I always used to say, being in the government, if you are within the system, you are able to do, a lot of efforts have been done. Just a way forward which I am thinking, can we with our resources move the media and bombard the entire media section in different format, that killing of architecture, ruining this and that. If we can use that, at least as Balbir said, people have to be brought together. Unless that is done, it is not possible. That is what the way forward I am looking for right now. Use our resources, television, magazine, everywhere, the broken picture, etc., and it should be bombarded everywhere. That will be the only way forward, immediate step. And this is the right step, because things have happened. Murder has been committed. Bring out the Raman Raghav outside. That's it.
Indeed.
It's like a condolence meeting. Like we are trying to say it's a very sad thing happened. But I joined history in 1975. 88 passed out. 82 the Hall of Nation opened. And just nearby, so you used to almost walk down and see the work going on. My name is Arun Ghosh. Namesake Arun Ghosh. Now, the thing is that we couldn't save the building. We couldn't do anything. But there's another way one could have looked at it. Like, in Western, like in developed world, we tried to keep them building, keep this building as a living monument and build over it, around it, and keep it intact. Was that, that could have been a solution? I mean, you're talking about the architects who have been given the job, whatever, or whoever is it. Like, if you think, I just was thinking of like the German parliament. They have written the whole building as it is, they built around it, over it, done by Norman Forces. And Norman Forces is the German parliament. The building is intact. In fact, there's a building called Hearst Tower in New York. Again, the whole building is written as it is. They changed the building, something over it, the building is still there. I mean, if something, at least we...
That was tried.
Yeah, yeah.
It was tried.
Okay, at least we can keep this living monument. I mean, in fact, look, this is an important building. German parliament is an important building. Same with the Hearst Tower, the old building. But look at the Tate Modern, which is a warehouse, which is retained and made into a beautiful Tate Modern art gallery. Or one latest building in Hamburg. So, if something kind of a policy demolish, at least let them keep the building, keep the original. Artists can work over it and even if they put the mind in it, keep the building as a living monument. But conservation is something well one should look into, one should look about it. But this is something one has to give a thought. If we keep this building as a living monument, let them be used, let them be modified as per the modern, but keep the building, keep the identity of the building, identity of the structure, so we can always appreciate it and let it be living kind of a heritage, a living heritage. If that thought can be propagated as a parallel thought, rather than keeping saving, that's certainly that's the best thing. But if that doesn't work, then we have to have a parallel thought, keeping the building as a living monument. That's my take. That's one can think in that line also. Okay, thank you.
Quickly sum up, we need another Goswami, as we said, in the state. We need to, kind of make people know, because a lot of people told me, "Arey, told gaya, hame to pata hi nahi tha." So we need that Arun Goswami element. We also need an Arvind Kejriwal element. So I mean, this is just, and then in the next meeting we can just find out who's the Arun Goswami and who's the Arvind Kejriwal. The third thing is we need to have some kind of a museum now, or some kind of a rebuilding of the Hall of Nations on the Pragati Maidan as a tribute. We can get the drawings from Mr. Rival, and we must, focus to rebuild a small Hall of Nations, because there are 3, 4, and we could have retained one. So that's one. The fourth thing is we must earmark and highlight the buildings in Delhi and the whole of India, whether it be the Kanchanjunga apartments of Korea and Bombay, or the NADP building, or any building that we feel, we need to earmark them and take with the architectural body and ask Vijay or how it can be done to at least save those buildings. That's all. Because these 4 things we focus and see how we can implement it. I wish Arvind Kejriwal was here and he would have maybe done Dharna on Pragati Maidan. So we need to activate these people and we can all go together to at least have those 4 things. But first and foremost, a museum and a rebuilding of a miniature Hall of Nations is we have to fight for now. Thank you. 8889.
जब ये आज की मीटिंग की सूचना मिली तो उसमें 4 पहलुओं पे बात हो रही है। मैं आखिरी पहलू पे बात करूंगा। क्या इस बिल्डिंग के टूटने से जनता को फर्क पड़ता है? डॉक्टर साहब ने जो बात कही, विजय भाई ने बात कही, बलबीर जी ने बात कही, जनता को एक ही चीज से फर्क पड़ता है, उसको कला और संस्कृति से फर्क नहीं पड़ता। कोर्ट में मामला कला और संस्कृति का गया, वहीं हमारा केस लुढ़क गया। मामला ये हुआ है 55 साल पुरानी बिल्डिंग है, कला और संस्कृति कमेटी कहती है 60 साल। एक मुद्दा ये था। दूसरा मुद्दा था अर्बन आर्ट कमेटी ने जब इसका नक्शा, अर्बन आर्ट कमीशन ने जब नक्शा पास करा, तब आप कहां थे? लेकिन कोर्ट ने एक राइटर लगाया था आखिर में कि आप कॉपीराइट एक्ट के तहत इस पे अगर आप चाहो तो कुछ कर सकते हो। अब बात आती है जनता की। क्या जनता को फर्क पड़ता है? जनता को एक चीज से फर्क पड़ता है, जब उनको बताया जाए कि आपके साथ बेईमानी हो रही है, आपके पैसे का दुरुपयोग हो रहा है। ये जो हॉल ऑफ नेशन बना था, कितने करोड़ रुपए से बना था, कितने साल ये बिल्डिंग चल जाती, कितनी सारी गतिविधियां हम इसके अंदर कर सकते थे। 100 साल तक ये भवन कहीं नहीं जाता। और इस तरह के ढेरों भवन दिल्ली के अंदर हैं जो 100 साल तक कहीं नहीं जाते। जब कुतुब मीनार, लाल किला कहीं नहीं गया, साउथ इंडिया के मंदिर कहीं नहीं गए, तो इसमें तो अच्छा खासा मजबूत लोहा सरिया डाल रखा है, जिसकी कंप्यूटर एनालिसिस और कैलकुलेशन कर रखी है हम लोगों ने। डॉक्टर साहब ने जो बात कही, जनता को आप तभी जोड़ पाएंगे, मीडिया में आप तभी अपनी बात कह पाएंगे जब आप बात बताएंगे इसमें बेईमानी हो रही है। कौन कौन बेईमान लोग हैं? आईटीयूपी के अफसर, ब्यूरोक्रेट बेईमान लोग हैं। कौन बेईमान लोग हैं? वो लोग बेईमान हैं जो इस प्रोजेक्ट को नए सिरे से बनाना चाहते हैं। कल तक बात ये होती थी कि यहाँ पर बड़ी भीड़ हो जाती है, प्रगति मैदान को उठा के ले जाओ वहां पर ग्रेटर नोएडा। आज तुम स्टेट ऑफ आर्ट टेक्नोलॉजी की बात करते हो कि इसकी इतनी सारी मंजिलें होंगी, इसके नीचे से टनल जाएगी, क्योंकि टनल में दिक्कत आ रही थी इसलिए हमने एक बिल्डिंग बना दी। मुझे नहीं पता कितने लोगों ने हरिबेन ढीगरा का नाम सुना है, आरटीआई एक्टिविस्ट है गुड़गांव। 38,800 करोड़ रुपए का उन्होंने फंड के घोटाले की पीआईएल लगाई है पंजाब हरियाणा हाई कोर्ट ने। 3,500 आरटीआई एप्लीकेशन उन्होंने लगाई है और हर आरटीआई एप्लीकेशन की अपील वो जीते। गुड़गांव जिसको आज गुरुग्राम बोलते हैं, जहां पर आज पोखर बन रहा है, जिसका झमेला चल रहा है, सचिन तेंदुलकर का नाम इससे जुड़ रहा था। वहां का जो आरटीआई एक्टिविस्ट ग्रुप है हरिंदर ढींगरा जी के साथ, उन्होंने उसको रोका। उन्होंने सचिन को कहा, सचिन भाई ये घोटाला है बहुत बड़ा, आप इसके अंदर मत इन्वॉल्व हो। आप जनता को तभी इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हैं, मीडिया को तभी इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हैं जब आप कला संस्कृति की बात मत करो, आर्ट एंड कल्चर की बात मत करो, हेरिटेज की बात मत करो। हेरिटेज की बात करोगे तो जो हेरिटेज कमेटी है, जो कोर्ट ने आपके मुंह पे दिलवा रहा केस को कि जाइए, नियम ये है, आपने नियम को क्यों नहीं चैलेंज करा? नियम ये, जब वो नक्शा पास हो रहा था तब आप कहां थे? कोर्ट को ब्लेम करना बड़ा आसान काम है। कोर्ट के सामने जो तथ्य रखे गए, कोर्ट ने डिसीजन उसी चीज पे दिया। मनोज भाई का मैंने लेख पढ़ा था, उसके अंदर आर्किटेक्चर लाइन में उन्होंने यही बात है। जनता तक हम तभी पहुंच पाएंगे जहां बताएं कि आईटी के लोग बेईमान हैं, वो आपका पैसे का दुरुपयोग कर रहे हैं, जो वैसे दूध और डबल रोटी में पैसा इकट्ठा किया गया है। आप सब इससे ज्यादा विद्वान हैं, ज्यादा समझते हैं, लेकिन जनता से मैं तभी जुड़ पाऊंगा जब मैं जनता की बात करूंगा। मैं उनको आर्किटेक्चर पढ़ाने बैठूंगा, मैं उनको कंजर्वेशन पढ़ाने बैठूंगा, मैं उनको वेडिंग मूवमेंट और शेयर बोर्ड की बात करूंगा, उनको नहीं समझ में आएगी। उनको जो दूसरा पक्ष वाली बात समझाएगा, ये जो क्लासेस बनाई गई थी तो गलत है। मुझे ध्यान है 1972 में जो बिल्डिंग बनी थी, इसका खासा विरोध भी हुआ था अखबारों में कि बड़ा पैसे का दुरुपयोग हुआ है, लेकिन आज तक खड़ा था नहीं स्ट्रक्चर। आज चंद बदमाश मंच के लिए बदमाश शब्द का इस्तेमाल कर रहा हूं, रातों रात आप इसको तोड़ देते हैं। और हम यहाँ 50-51 लोग बैठ के, जैसे अरुण घोष भाई ने कहा, शोक सभा मना रहे हैं। क्यों शोक सभा मना रहे हो? हम उन आईटीपीओ के अफसरों से सारा पैसा वापस मांगे कि हमारा पैसा था जिसको तुमने तोड़ डाला। ये बिल्डिंग अभी 150 साल तक जिंदा रहनी थी, जिसको तुमने तोड़ डाला। ये जो और बिल्डिंगों पे जिसकी तुम्हारी नजर है, इनको तुम्हें तोड़ने नहीं देंगे हम। हमें हेरिटेज कमेटी की रिपोर्ट से नहीं मतलब है, हमें रत्नाकर कमीशन के नक्शों से मतलब नहीं। नमस्कार कहेंगे।
Yeah, sure.
Hi everyone, my name is Tarun Walecha. Here after a long time at this IIA platform. Yes, some of us said it's more like a Shok Sabha, which is unfortunate because that's not what we are supposed to do. My understanding and the only, I think, point that I like to make is we are educated people, part of society where we ought to contribute in such a way that the society moves in a better way. Dharnas and all, I don't know, they all sound fancy, but I'm sure we need to have better ways to be heard. And in my opinion, I think the larger onus, whether it is about awareness or protest or taking the matter forward, a lot of it lies with the institutes, because individually we may think, we may have an opinion, but it's very difficult to move things. Whether we are talking about sensitizing people, or we are talking about making people aware, or circulating media, somebody using their own contacts, but I think those are like one-off things. You know, today somebody may have a contact, tomorrow they may not. Largely, the responsibility, in my opinion, lies with the institutes like IIA, Council, schools, where we need to make people aware. We've lost on structure. I don't know how much we can do about it now. But frankly, I thought today we'll meet with a roadmap. We are sitting here and saying 20 years nobody has done anything, 10 years nobody has not done anything. I mean, I'm sorry to say the faces I see here from Institute I've seen for 20 years. And I could question that what has Institute done in 20 years. Whether it was about IA plot, whether it was about this building bomb, whether it was Chanakya, yes, we held a protest march, a candlelight, or whatever. I mean, after Chanakya we put a roadmap? Did we decide that you can't fight a system that easy? There is a government, like somebody said, demolishing Rashtrapati Bhavan. Yes, if tomorrow the government decides we'll demolish it, you can't do anything because the government has the prerogative. You could make them aware, you could contest, you could have a dialogue. So, let us, I hope, as SPA, as an institute and other architecture colleges, IIA as a body which is the largest forum which should be addressing architectural issues. I mean, we have IIA has so many conferences and conventions, youth council, and God knows what all happening all through the year. I'm not sure how much are they really doing something about issues like this. I mean, 3 days of galas for people to come and attend and go back. I'm sorry to say that. We need to address these issues. We need to have a roadmap. Let's not feel sorry of what has happened. Let's have a roadmap. Let's decide that institute will maybe make a body, maybe start circulating information. I mean, let's look at maybe 5-7 years from now. Because this structure, unfortunately, is gone, you know. Forward messages and Twitter and all, I'm not sure how much it can happen. The larger source is sensitizing people, and the responsibility lies with the institutes. That's all I want to say.
Mitron, I'm representing a small school of architecture. My name is Rajat Ray. कल तक दाढ़ी हुआ करती है Rajat R-A-J-A-T-R-A-Y. ये बहुत दूर है. Everybody एक आगे नीचे. नहीं everybody. So बहुत crack कर रहा है. So I'm only saying that I teach in a school of architecture. I have done a little bit of work in my life earlier. I don't practice. They cannot practice, but I have many friends who do. So what I think that we can offer to, and we'll do it in our school, sort of step up the process of discussing about architecture in general and what is modern architecture, etc. More formally, that what I find is that it's really a business. The dimension of business and profession is so strong that we don't have any academic space in architecture really. And people are just ready to somehow graduate and get into profession. And those issues are still discussed and those are very much there. But there are a lot of people who are thinking about architecture at their leisure time about what it is. And simple facts that it is neither technology nor art or something else. So we are ready to, I mean, we very, my interest would be to get some help in this context to do the work that you want to do, some research or something like that, that's what we can do, to what I call in Mr. Men's language, to enrich and propagate and also to reach with a better discourse of architecture, which will help in propagating what architecture is to common people, so that they look back at buildings, look back and think that there's some importance of these things, rather than being very expensive projects which some people build and make a lot of money and some cannot, some cry, they don't get fees, some get a lot of fees. That discourse is there very much, and everybody's talking about that, and IIA is talking about that. So that's what we can offer. And I'm sure the SPA as a grand institution can have more facilities of this kind of thing. So besides doing exhibitions and display of students' work, which are very proudly done, good work is definitely done and put across, and producing students who are professionally adept and very smart. They go abroad, 25 to 80% people go to USA, they are born in India to go to US or some other country. So we will try, imagine that there will be in this cliched language, a space for discourse about architecture, both in its popular sense, people sense, and also in the architecture sense, in the more intellectual terms. There are people who are ready to discuss it, but the cliched, therefore they are put aside. It's just only so far big money, big profession, big building, collapse, etc., etc., etc. So that's a little unfortunate. So we will do it in our own way, and we'll expect some help. Besides that, the other issues which are there were too small to even participate in that, except releasing our goodwills. That's all. Thank you.
Anybody else who would like to come up?
Good evening. I just have some random thoughts which perhaps will help in putting some of these thoughts together and stitching a story. Firstly, I was just looking at the poster that you people had put forth about today's agenda, and there are 4 questions in this. Have we lost a vital piece in history of modern architecture? Yes, we have. There's no debate. Is the society, public at large, affected by this issue? No, they aren't. I can say that with confidence. If the public at large, 99.9% are not affected by the Hall of Nations disappearing. It's sad. That's it. But I'm just answering these questions. Can we prevent rewriting of history in this century by overwriting the history of the previous century? Can't say. Not a very relevant question just now. Is architecture losing its connect with society? And I think that's the key question. There is no doubt about it that today what architects are or what architecture is being done is totally disconnected with society, and that's the core issue. So what I'd like to say is that if in some way there is more awareness amongst architects, number one, which today is lacking. I am a graduate from this institute almost 30 years ago. And in our time, there was a huge emphasis on the context, the vernacular, the history, or heritage, or interpretation. In the last few years, I have had the opportunity to be an external jury in 3 or 4 different colleges on occasion. And I find that aspect is now totally missing in today's education. I believe 30 years ago, there were perhaps 30 odd colleges of architecture in this country. Today, there are more than 400, and I don't know if Vijay would have that statistic. That means we have increased the number of architects who are coming into the society by 10-fold or more. Are the architects who are coming out today sensitive to these issues of our heritage, be it traditional or modern? If they are not, how can you expect society to be sensitive to that? And that too to a building which was located in a sort of a remote area, in the sense you only went there once a year and maybe not even that. This is indeed a deep problem. And the only way forward for us as architects to get together is not just on issues of heritage. Because what's happening is, whatever is going wrong is, or when we say the Hall of Nations is gone or other things are going wrong, they not just happened on its own. It's a symptom of something deeper. There is something else which is desperately wrong. Some time ago, Arun talked about this fact that these huge MNCs are coming in and taking over the profession. In our profession and in every profession, there are big fish, there are medium fish, there are small fish. When you graduate, you're a small fish. You always envy the big fish. Right now, there are sharks also out there. So that is a point of concern, but that's not the focus of what's going on right now. We've got to start looking at the future in many other ways. Are we going in for better architecture? Whatever that definition of better is the society aware of it? All these are the things that have to be done. Somebody talked about a roadmap. It's almost impossible for any individual, any of us, let alone me, actually come out and say, this is the roadmap forward. That roadmap has to be put through our representatives, which is the IIA, which is the Council of Architecture, which are the schools of architecture. We as individual architects can only come up and say, these are the kind of problems that we are facing in our daily profession, which is what is causing the lack of quality architecture, which is why society is losing that connect with us, and which is why this whole problem exists. This is my personal diagnosis of the core of the problem, and we have to address that. We did have, Vijay, as you recall, a small meeting a couple of months ago where we did put up certain points, but for the sake of sounding repetitive, we've got to look at these basic issues. We talk about minimum fees. I was just looking at those things. The Council of Architecture says minimum fees is something percentage. And then I find that people are quoting not percentages, they're quoting lump sums. Where did this come from? Suddenly I find that even this Amravati and this Pragati Maidan, and actually as a practicing architect, I'm also experiencing this. When I go and quote for a project and I say 3% or 3.5% or whatever it is, which is a decent amount, I'm told, sorry, all your contemporaries are quoting lump sums, so you have to stick with it. Now that's in the private sector, so I cannot do anything about it. But why is the government and public sector areas asking for lump sums? Why not percentages? It's a very basic thing to start from, you know. Why is it that we, in all these 50 years or more, 70 years, have not been able to move forth and change the building bylaws in this country or the planning norms? They are stagnant. We're not able to do anything about it. I can't do anything about it individually. I can talk to my representatives. I can help them. I can volunteer time. We need to have a roadmap on that. Why is it that after 70 years, every architect's drawing which is submitted to an authority is checked by an engineer? Why is it that a junior engineer has to give his comments and interpretation of what we are trying to do? As a as a community, we're not able to address that. There are many other issues in terms of our educational context. So all I wanted to say is, there's a lot of passion for what this profession is all about. There are many of us who feel passionate about the work. Many of us feel very sad when such buildings are demolished. Many of us feel even worse when we see worse pieces of architecture coming and replacing this. So we have to do something about changing the process by which our urban environment is being modified. Modified by the removal of the old and by the replacement of the new. Lastly, I want to add, it's futile making lists of works that are going to be preserved, whether it's 50, 60 or 100, if you don't have the teeth to enforce those rules. Today, the Archaeological Survey of India, if it puts a board outside a protected monument, if you do anything to that monument, you are punishable by a prison term. Unless you have some kind of rules in place enacted by the government of India, there is no point creating this list. These are just academic exercises. Why waste time on it? We are all extremely busy professionals. Let's focus, and my request is, again, to our representatives to help us bring this in focus and create some kind of a chart that will actually take us forward productively to create a better India. Thank you.
On behalf of the chapter and the alumni, I would like to thank all the concerned people here present today, and with a very humble request, because some of us spoke and some of us did not want to speak. But the whole issue is, we would request everybody to put in our mail to the Northern Chapter IIA email ID, which is IIANC@hotmail.com. And within a week, we are expected to come up with some things based on your inputs that you're going to get. And post this, we will definitely take it up jointly from our side. And that's a promise to the House here. But we definitely expect a lot of responses from you people. Thank you very much. And people who seriously want to volunteer to work on this as a part of core groups can also put in the request at the same email ID, and we'll be able to take it up. Thank you.
It's very nice that you organized. Next time, if it's like a panel discussion, I think it makes it easier for people to speak up.